just want to let you know because it happened before with somebody else.
All right. We are live, finally. All right. Hello, everyone. It's the 18th of November, 2025. Sorry for the technical difficulties. My computer was acting up. I had to restart it. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go on Instagram, which is not a big deal, but we're here with Rick Rodriguez. And I was just saying that the 18th of November, 38 years ago, my wife went into the hospital with our oldest child's pregnancy. Took her 19 hours, so he was born the next day. And we all remember it took her 19 hours in labor because she keeps reminding him every time. So tomorrow will be his birthday. Anyways, we had a wonderful weekend at Hack Your Health. And I was lucky to meet him in person for the first time. Our friend here, Rick Charger Mopar, right?
That's right.
Rick Rodriguez. So put hashtag KMT. We're going to give some prizes, and we're going to give either a gray or a black. While supplies last, if by any chance there's no supplies, you'll get a t-shirt. But or if you choose to get a t-shirt, we can give you a t-shirt. But hashtag, I'm gonna change that. Not hashtag KMT. You're gonna put hashtag Rick. RICK. Hashtag Rick for a chance of a Dr. Nelson hat. So we're going to change it up a little bit today. All right. So hashtag KMT is not going to work for now. Just hashtag Rick. All right. So please let us know where you're coming from. Rick and I are both in Florida.
That's right.
Yes. Where is it that do you live in Miami, or is it nearby?
I live in a suburb of Miami called Westwood Lakes. It was built in the late 1950s by the Mackle Company, one of the first developments in this area.
Oh, guess who developed Deltona?
Mackle.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And we
also
have a
Key
street.
Biscayne.
We have a boulevard here called Elkham Boulevard, but Elkham is Mackle
backwards.
Spelled backwards. Yes.
That's right. They were a really big developer. They made homes starting at $5,000 and up. They built everything from tiny little boxes to really nice homes, and they lasted. There's still some that old boxes that are still in the original condition, like mine.
Yeah. So my city, it is a city officially. Not very well known. Every time just this weekend, where are you from? Deltona. Oh, Daytona. People confuse it. It is in the same county. Daytona is obviously the most well known, probably as well known as Orlando and Miami, right? Daytona Beach, spring break, bike week, NASCAR, all these things. But Deltona has more population than Daytona. So we are actually the number one city in terms of population in the county, Volusia County. So they were big developers. And, I'm in a baby city, actually, because the city has only been, city only 30 years, but Deltona became a separate entity in the 60s only. So it's a 60-year-old city, which, you have hundreds of years old city throughout the state. And it's called Deltona because DeLand is the other large city in the county, and Daytona. So it's a combination of both names. Anyway,
Hmm.
enough of that. So Rick, you went to um I'm actually I think most people here know who you are, but if they don't, let's go ahead and give them a elevator version, a 1 minute version of who's Rick. Go ahead.
Well, Rick, which is me, is known as, by now, the 42-year carnivore. When I first did interviews, I was called the 39-year carnivore. I started the carnivore diet in 1983 because I was one of the shortest kids in junior high. I got picked on a lot, and I hated my life. I didn't want to go to high school. I wanted to get out of it. So I thought that if I ate a really unhealthy diet, I would get sick, and then I'd be able to stay home. I wouldn't have to go to school and get picked on and go through all the problems that I did. And my grades were not that good anyway. So I just want to get my GED and go to technical school and find some kind of work and be done with it. So my plan was I just did the opposite of what my parents told me. My dad was very much into low fat, lots of green vegetables, whole grains, healthy fruits, and all those things that were important, the different seeds and the superfoods and all those other things that were popular at the time. Don't eat butter, eat margarine. And lard and tallow, that's really bad. If you're going to eat meat, you have to eat the leanest possible meat, cut all the fat off of it. And if you're going to eat chicken, eat the white meat chicken, preferably cooked in one of those slanted grills so a little bit of fat is in there, runs off. So I just said, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to eat the butter, the lard. I'm going to eat whole fat cheese. I'm going to eat as much fatty meat as I can. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to eat a dozen eggs a day if I have them, because they used to say that eating one egg was like smoking 2 cigarettes. And I think cigarettes are disgusting. So I would never smoke them. But if I could eat an egg, if I could eat a dozen eggs and be like a pack a day smoker, that would get me closer to that goal of a heart attack. And I started doing it. And I kept doing it. I went through high school and college, went from a C average to an A average, became a much happier person. And after 10th grade, I never got picked on again. So even though I didn't get the heart attack I wanted, the carnivore diet, which I didn't know was called the carnivore diet at the time, seemed to do a lot of good.
So you've been a carnivore way before we had this term coined. I mean, you were eating basically the same lifestyle we're promoting, but at the time, even 15 years ago, when Kelly Hogan started Dr. Kills, Dr. Lisa Wiederman, it wasn't called the carnivore diet. It was only until Dr. Sean Baker wrote his book, The Carnivore Diet, that I sort of coined the term. I mean, the word obviously is not new. It's been around for a long time, and people were eating like that. And, most cultures probably had some seasonal fruits and some here and there plants, like Dr. Kills refers to all of them. But it was only, it was mostly meat. And so, what variety of food? By the way, if you have any questions for Rick, please put them in the chat and put a QQQ before so I can pick that up. It's not hashtag KIMT, by the way, it's hashtag Rick. The algorithm, the tool is not going to pick the KMT. You have to put hashtag Rick. Please put in the chat, like I said, where you're watching from and the questions, and we'll try to have Rick answer. So, Rick, tell me the things you eat, because obviously there are things that you eat not that some people not frequently eat.
True. Well, my diet is very simple. If it has 4 legs, it's generally on the menu, unless it's a carnivore, in which case it's not on the menu. If it has 2 legs, it needs to have feathers. So let's just say the standard, the beef, the chicken, the pork, the fish that most people eat. I eat that too. I like to eat mostly beef, although lately, because of the expense, I don't eat as much as I used to. I used to eat 2 pounds of beef per day. Now I may only eat that in a week. But on the other hand, I look for the opportunistic foods that are cheap or free. I do check the dumpsters from time to time behind the grocery store, but there's also the canal down the street. There's an extensive network of canals in this neighborhood. And in those canals, there are two of my favorite wild foods. One is the Muscovy duck. If you've never had Muscovy duck, you'll have to get it at a fancy restaurant. It's called Barbary duck. It's not like the regular duck you get in a Chinese restaurant, which is a Peking duck. So Muscovy ducks have the red stuff on their face. They're very unique looking. But there's a second wild food, which is widely available, and sometimes I find it in my own yard. It is a very clean meat. It is also a white meat, and it's somewhere between fish and chicken. And if you don't know what it is, it's called iguana, which is a type of lizard. It's basically a lizard that eats mostly plant material and some insects, and it can swim very, very well. So they like to escape to the canal. But if I find them in the yard, in my garden, and yes, I do have a garden, I grow fruits and vegetables. It's one of my hobbies. And I also like to give fruits and vegetables to my friends who like to eat them. I have friends that like avocados and mangoes, and I don't eat that stuff. But I can give it to them, and I can also give it to the ducks or iguanas when I catch them. So a lot of times what I'll do, if I can catch one of them live, especially the ducks, because when they're wild and they're living by the canal, the meat's not very flavorful. It's a little tough. So I'll try to catch them and bring them here to my special executive suite, as I call it, which is a fenced-in area with a little duck pond and a pump. And I feed them duck food, which is basically fruits and vegetables, maybe some bread and rice, and whatever else my friends have left over they don't want to eat. I give it to them, and I fatten them up, get them nice and tasty. And they taste almost like a delicious ribeye steak when they're properly fattened up. The iguanas, their flavor depends on where they come from. If they come from at the end of Snapper Creek where the bay is, they're going to taste more like fish. But in this neighborhood, they generally taste more like chicken. But both ways, they are very delicious. And as you said, that is one food that I don't think anyone else in the carnivore community eats on a regular basis.
Now, we live in Florida, and the people here in Florida, especially everywhere throughout the United States, but in Florida, it's common to have alligators. Does the iguana taste anything like the alligators?
The iguana tastes better than the alligator. The problem with alligators is that they are predators, and the older they are, they tend to concentrate heavy metals like mercury and lead. And I've actually they have a gator hunting season. I have a couple of friends that are really into the Everglades. They got airboats and swamp buggies. They do hunt gator, and I've had them bring me gator meat before. It is tasty, but the thing is that gator meat has to be seasoned. Otherwise, it does have a metallic taste. Most of the time when the tourists eat it, it's breaded and fried in probably nasty seed oils because that's what they use here. And you don't really taste the gator. But if you stew the gator or if you boil it like I do, it does not taste as good as iguana because, again, it is a carnivore and it does tend to concentrate the environmental toxins.
All right. So have you ever had a heart attack, Greg?
Oh, I have one every day. Heart attack chicken, heart attack burger, heart attack iguana. But an actual myocardial infarction, no, I've never had one. Okay. And I'm a very active person. If you've seen me ride my bike, and you saw me at Hack Your Health, the way I move around quickly, do I look like somebody that may have symptoms of heart disease?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Because I had to restart my computer. I don't have access right now to a picture, but we showed it. Was it yesterday or today? You and me, of course. You are about a foot taller than me, if not maybe 13 inches taller. I also had queued up my Ribeye Ranger video, although I see it on YouTube, by the way. And,
it's on Amy's channel.
And Amy made one. She made two for you, but I haven't found the other one.
One of them is the strawberry poop gas, which you were playing, and the other one is Duckman and Swamp Cat.
Yeah, I look for that. Now, when we were in Tampa, my wife went walking, took the litter trolley to Ybor City, and she saw chickens on the road. Tampa downtown, by the way. And then later she found out that it's the town or the city ordinances prohibit people from catching the chicken. The parking lot chicken is available there, but you have to avoid the cameras, I guess. But sometimes you do go into neighborhoods where they're free range chickens, basically, and they might follow you home. You have
Yeah. Well, here in Miami, believe it or not, they're illegal. Any chickens in any suburban area is illegal. So people generally pay to have them removed. The only place where they really kind of protect them is in that part of Tampa. And then in Key West, they have an ordinance because they consider them part of the heritage. But here, they just escape from people's yards. Normally what happens is people will raise chickens. Then the code enforcement comes around and threatens to fine them. So they just turn them loose. And when they go loose, they find whatever empty space they can, which is usually in the county park. Then the county has to pay money to get the trappers to try and catch the chickens. But the chickens are really smart, and they usually get away.
All right. So let's take some questions here. I have a few already. Sorry if I missed your question, but I think I've picked up most of them, but let's start with this. All right. So the Skeptic Tank asks from Portland, Oregon, were you questioned early on, or what kind of pushback did you get even then, and how did you respond?
Well, of course, with my dad being as health conscious as he was very concerned that I had decided to turn against everything that he told me. All the good, healthy foods, the juices, the whole grains, the vegetables, the rice and beans, all the things that Dad thought was healthy, and all the vitamins, the brewer's yeast and the bone meal and all that other stuff. And I did continue to take some vitamins. I was taking, I think, I did take vitamin C as a compromise because my parents were very convinced, especially my dad, said that I'd be like the sailors and get scurvy. So I did take vitamin C. And they also used to give me a fish oil. Now, I always liked cod livers and cod liver oil, even when I was a kid. They gave that to me as a supplement. It came in a metal can. It looked like a can of brake fluid. They put it in a spoon and give it to me. And my mother always used to go, "Oh, how terrible." And I was like, that's pretty good. That's probably one of the reasons why I rebelled when it came to diet, because I forced myself to try to eat these nasty vegetables. One thing I really hated was oatmeal. Every morning they gave me oatmeal with brown sugar, and I hated it. I just couldn't stand it. One of the most disgusting things I had as a kid was brown sugar. It looked like something that was burned, and it was just kind of dissolving in there, turning it brown. It was terrible. And then I found out it was just really just sugar with molasses. But it's awful. There was also another drink, and you're from Puerto Rico, so you may be familiar with those so-called Malta drinks. They're
Malta,
like
yeah.
The most disgusting liquid I ever put in my mouth. It's as bad as garbage juice. It reminded me of brown sugar. And they used to think that my dad thought that would make you stronger.
Well, it is made with brown sugar. It's a malt beverage, and it's pretty much pure sugar.
Right.
At the end of the day, and it's a little bit carbonation.
Right, but it was horrible. And see, I don't even like soda. The only non-water drink that I liked that was sweet was ginger ale. Other than that, I couldn't stand any of them. But when I got on the carnivore diet, my parents did constantly try to get me to change. They're always trying to give me the vegetables. And I started making fun of the vegetables. I called everything duck food. Oh, don't give me the duck food. Give it to the ducks. And that whole thing stayed with me. And I resisted for years. It wasn't until I was about, I guess, 25 years old, I compromised. And I told my parents I would go plant-based for a while. But that didn't work out.
So we had dinner at a Brazilian restaurant on Friday with Rick, and I don't know. I think we had probably up to 200 people there. We had more than anticipated. Anyways, What was your favorite meat at the Brazilian steakhouse Friday night, Michael? Mike Selly's asking.
Well, he was sitting next to me. Well, he's on the other side of the table, so he probably noticed that I grabbed as much of the ribeye as I could. But I also went for the tougher meats. They also had, I think it was the round or whatever. It looked like round. I ate that too. I actually prefer the flavor of those tougher meats as long as they have enough fat. But I would say the ribeye or maybe the picanha, which is the sirloin cap. Those are also very good. I avoided the non-beef. Well, I did eat lamb, but I did not eat the chicken except for the chicken hearts. I ate some of those. Those were pretty good. But I would
I had
say,
some chicken hearts as well.
yeah.
All right. Keto, this is Amy. Thank you, Amy, for the videos. We've been having fun with that. If
Mm-hmm.
money's no object, what is your favorite meat meal, Rich?
Well, my favorite meat is actually a nicely fattened Muscovy duck, and that's a very expensive meat if you buy it. But if I had enough property, I could eat it all the time because the place would be overrun with ducks. But out of the store-bought meats, I would say T-bone steaks are generally my favorite. So if I had the money, I would have a big fat T-bone steak with every meal.
All right. Let's see. Perry Girl. Rick, will you attend another carnivore inspired event in the future? By the way, this was we sort of have taken over the past 2 years, Hack Your Health, but it's not a carnivore event. It's a Hack Your Health, more geared toward everything that improves your health. Dr. Baker, while he was in one of the panels, repeated this a couple of times. The goal may not be to be carnivore. The goal is to be healthy. And even though Rick started doing this as a rebellion, uh, he's a healthy guy. I mean, he's 6'7" or 6, and I think you told me you haven't seen a doctor in 30 years.
1996 was the last time. I was 28.
All right. So the question is, will you attend an event if you can?
Oh, if I can, I will. As long as I can get there and as long as I'm not totally broke, I will definitely be there.
All right. So next month we're having something probably in the same restaurant, by the way. Probably in the same restaurant. And we'll see what happens. Okay. So, is there a link between hair loss and carnivore diet? Sorry, doctor, I'm not picking on you, but curious about it. Okay. So, a couple of things. You can see this picture here. I did have plenty of hair. I was starting to get a little bit thin on top. About a month after that picture, I shaved my head. Why? Because my best friend who had cancer for many years was getting chemotherapy, was losing his hair, and he decided to go ahead and shave it. So I shaved it, and I have kept it like that. He passed away later that year, as a matter of fact. So I shaved my head 6 years ago. I have not attempted to grow it again. All right. So I did not lose my hair because of the diet or because of anything. Okay. Whenever you lose hair, though, with diet changes, it happens with all of them. You can go from one pattern of eating to another, and you may lose hair just because you're shocking your system a little bit when you go from either a very heavy carbohydrate loaded diet to carnivore, for example, will be mostly fat and meat, right? Fat protein. But uh, the diet is not is basically the problem. You might have to look into it, go to a doctor, hypothyroidism, autoimmune diseases, uh, vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Can all of them cause hair loss? And there are other some hormonal and hereditary aspects to it. Uh, what do you think about? I mean, obviously, Rick, you have a full head of hair. I I don't think you have a gray hair, by the way. Do you? Yeah, you have a
No,
couple of gray hairs.
not really. I mean, you
Yeah,
saw me in person.
yeah, yeah.
Look at my eyebrows. The only gray hair I have, there's a few right here in the facial hair. That's about it.
Mm. I have some. I did. You know, if you look at that picture, it was a lot of gray hair, silver, almost. My mom started getting gray hairs in her mid 30s, and I have pictures of when I was 35, completely black. But the next few years, definitely before 40, I was a lot of gray hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just want to emphasize carnivore diet does not cause hair loss, but diet changes in general, especially restrictive diet when you're trying to restrict maybe the amount of calories or energy or that you whenever your system gets a shock, it might cause some hair loss. And I thought I had a video on that, but obviously I didn't have it. I'll have it for next time. uh all right, let's let me see if I have missed a question here. Okay. Just put your questions in the chat with the QQQ in front of it. Hello, Larry. I was I was wearing the shirt you gave me yesterday. Um, all right, let's go to the questions we do have. All right. So Frank Calabrese, that's I've heard that name only a few times, by the way. My gross anatomy professor, which taught me gross anatomy 45 years ago, was Dr. Calabrese.
Hmm.
Frank asked, Rick Carnivore is the PhD. How do you cook all your different meats? And do you use any condiments? So how do you cook your foods? I guess it depends on where you're cooking. If you're doing chicken wings, you already know how you do them.
Yeah,
But
it depends. It depends where I am and what I'm cooking. If I'm at home, I'm going to be cooking in the kitchen. I make my own biogas. It's hooked up to the stove, and I cook either in pots or on a cast iron griddle. So if I'm cooking a steak, it's going to be on the cast iron griddle most of the time. Maybe 10% of the time it'll be outside on the grill. Generally on the grill, I cook with wood. I gather up all the wood from the yard that I cut, trimmings and all that. I let it dry. Then I burn it until it produces coals. And then once it is coals, I put the meat on there. I cook it on a lower temperature. I don't like to overcook the meat. I like all my meats rare. So I don't even like to sear the meat. What I like to do, get the charcoal nice and even, put the meat on there for 3, maybe 4 minutes, flip it over, 3 or 4 minutes. I'll cook the meat until the fat starts to come out, and then I'll take it off and I'll put it on the plate. When it comes to in the kitchen, I cook it longer on the griddle, and if the fat comes out, I just move the steak around in it. but I never cook the steak more than 10 minutes between both sides. And usually they're going to be about maybe a 3/4 of an inch to an inch thick. I like to have anywhere from 1.5 to 2 pound steaks to be really satisfied, but I will have a 1 pound steak from time to time. With other meats, chicken, the only way I cook chicken is deep fried. I do not like baked chicken. I don't like roasted chicken. I don't like rotisserie chicken. I like it deep fried in lard or beef tallow. When it comes to duck, I don't really like roast duck because it dries it out. So I'll either stew the duck, cook it in a crock pot, or deep fry it. Fish, I can have steamed, or I can have, I don't like grilled fish, but I can have it steamed or deep fried. That's fine. And sometimes baked. Now, when I'm on the road and I don't have my kitchen, I have a portable grill that's propane powered. It's a little tiny. It's about the size of a suitcase. But sometimes if I'm driving, I don't want to be using the grill when I'm driving. So I'll use the engine for cooking the meat while driving. So let's say that I was going to drive to Tampa instead of taking the bus. I would have gotten a rib roast and then wrapped it up and put it in my container, either the stainless steel container, or wrapped it up with paper and then aluminum foil, put it on top of the engine, and then drive. And after about 3-4 hours of driving, I could take it out and it would be nicely cooked. Sometimes I'll stop, I'll put a thermometer in it, make sure that it's reached, 130 or whatever the temperature I want. And if it's reached, I'll take it out. If otherwise, I'll leave it on the engine and keep on driving. But I eventually developed something to make it easier. I actually got one of those little thermocouples that has a resistor inside, and I ran a probe inside the truck. So I have a plug. It's almost like one of those probes you put in the oven. You can plug it into the meat and you drive, and then you can watch the thermometer. So the thermometer is right there on the dashboard, and when the temperature rises, then you can stop and take it out so you don't overcook it. I don't use any seasoning at all. I don't use spices. I do use salt, but only on chicken. I don't salt anything else. I don't salt beef. I don't salt pork, and I never salt duck. That would be terrible. I use very little salt, believe it or not. But no, I use no spices. Now, there is an exception. When I do get together with friends, sometimes they want to have grilled chicken, which I don't really like. But what I'll do, if I want to grill chicken or iguana, I have to marinate it. And what I'll do with that, I'll use sour oranges from my yard. I'll juice them. I have one of those little rotating juicers where you cut open the orange and you push down on it and the juice comes out and it keeps the seeds from going in it. And I'll juice that. And then sometimes I'll mix it with some tropical oregano from the yard. I'll put that into a bowl, put the chicken in it, put it in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Then when I go to cook it on the grill, it's going to have more of a juicy, it's not going to dry out. Because if you just throw the chicken on the grill, it's going to be very dry. And I don't want to do what my friends do and put that crappy seed oil stuff on it, because that just makes the chicken awful. In fact, I think most people that do like grilling or roasting of chicken, it makes you wonder if the Brazilian steakhouses do the same thing. They use seed oils to cover it, so that way it doesn't dry out in the fire. And if I eat that, I get very sick. I'll get diarrhea. Sometimes I'll throw up. That's how bad it is. But,
So some Brazilian steakhouses do marinate with seed oils. I found probably one of the biggest, most well-known ones this week, as I called, because 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was there and I ate with my family. We were celebrating birthdays of two of my kids. And I noticed oil on my plate. I said, oh, and guess what? I did get sick, a little bit nauseous. Like say, I was not happy because it had been one of my favorite steakhouses. However, I had not been there. I don't think while being carnivore, I had been there. So I called. I said, do you marinate with oil your meats? And they said, yes, absolutely, except for the filet mignon. And there was another cut, I think the ribs, because they didn't have, well, they did have ribs and they had ribeye at the steakhouse that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
But there are two meats that they don't marinate in oil. One of this the filet mignon, and I think the other one is the ribs. Everything else they marinated. And I'm going to mention the name because it's Texas and Brazil.
Oh,
Some of the other
never been there.
some of the others just don't do that. So you have to always ask. The Brazilian steakhouse always also I always check, but usually they have real butter as well instead of just of margarine. They have real butter, but it could change. You need to ask if you have to eat on the road. Listen, some people think it's not the best meat or whatever, but you're okay probably to stop at one of the fast food restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and have some of their patties. If you're hungry, if you don't have to eat, you don't have to eat, by the way. All right. So Dave is asking Rick, what are your daily energy levels like and sleep schedule?
My energy levels are pretty good. And again, Dr. Nelson, you saw how I am when I was at Hack Your Health. I'm always on the move. I don't think I ever run out of energy. My sleep schedule is pretty basic. I usually go to bed between 11 and midnight, and I wake up usually around 6:30 in the morning. And I get up once at night to go to the bathroom, but I save myself a trip. I actually have a container I use instead of having to walk to the bathroom and trip over the cat. Although usually the cat's sleeping on the same bed in the corner. And that's pretty much how I do it. So I'm going to get, 7 hours of sleep or somewhere around there. 11:30, about 7 hours of sleep. And my energy levels are good. If I'm getting sick, if I get a flu or something like that, then I may feel more tired and I may not have the energy. And also, our summers here are very hot, so there are times in the day when I'll take a break. A lot of times in the hotter weather, I have to take my lunch. I've had times where I didn't eat lunch, but that's only in the cooler weather. But normally I'll take a break at that time.
All right. So Raj Dave asked, should we be concerned, I guess, about microplastics when we sous vide meat? What do you think, Rick?
Well, I've never done it. The idea of cooking meat in a plastic bag never appealed to me. But the machine that I've seen that a friend of mine has, I think the bags are silicone, and I don't think silicone can form microplastics. Silicone is a polymer based on acetic acid and is generally non-reactive. I think that's the reason why they use it in medical procedures. So I don't think that's an issue, but I really don't know for sure.
So I have never used sous vide, although I just received my first sous vide, and I'm planning to use silicone bags for that reason. So we'll see how it works out. I hear, as far as obviously that is a concern, right? But as far as the product that you get with the meat, I hear you can cook anything that's hard and tough, and it's gonna be as tender as filet mignon. But by the way, I think when was it? Saturday night? Was it that we had the ribeye together, Rick?
Yes, Saturday night.
That was the most tender ribeye I've ever had, by the way.
It wasn't the most tender I ever had, but it was very good. But I have had more tender. And you know where I got that from? I got it for free from a friend of mine that had a dairy farm. What they used to do, they would take the old dairy cows and they would fatten them up. They don't have a lot of meat, but the ribeye that they produce was very, very tender. So, but that was a very good steak. That was probably the best one I've had in 30 years.
Yeah, very good. Kiddo Rockstars Amy asks, Rick, do you wear a mask when you go into the parking lots to grab your parking lot chicken?
No, but I dress like a homeless person. I wear the most ratty, torn up clothes that I have. I ride my rusted bicycle, and nobody cares. In fact, most people, they're glad that I grabbed them. The auto parts where I get most of my chickens from, they always want to give me a gift. They think I'm a homeless guy. So they gave me $5 one time when I caught a couple of chickens. they hate them because you know what the chickens do? They get into the bushes and they dig all the dirt out and the leaves and everything. So when you walk into the auto parts on the sidewalk, it's covered with leaves and dirt. And somebody actually tripped and fell over there, an older lady, because of the gravel. The birds, they dig it out. So they're very happy that I got rid of them. And now there are no chickens around the auto parts. But when they come back, I'll get more. I must have gotten about maybe 13 or 14 out of that place. They were taking over. But I don't have no reason to hide. I think most people, they know who I am. And they're glad to see me take them away.
All right. So this next question, I gotta say this because I've asked him a few times just to make. I this a couple of times. I've asked him, and Rick is an electrical engineer, and you also taught at a local college, right? Is it
I
like
taught at Miami-Dade College from 2000 to 2013.
All right. So that's 13 years teaching at a college.
Yep.
Coco T5D, I think. Do you work? What is your job?
Well, I have to work to be able to eat. And normally the work that I do, it varies. I don't have a regular job. I haven't had one in years. After I stopped teaching at the college, I took care of my parents. So normally what I do now, I do basically property maintenance. I do some mechanical repairs. I'm not a mechanic, but some of the people I know, they bring me vehicles and equipment to repair. I also do some welding. In part of my maintenance work, I do plumbing and electrical repairs. I do a little of everything. And at one time, I was even making neon signs. I haven't done that for many years, but I did for a while. The demand just kind of went away. But I do a lot of odd jobs to survive.
If you were not so far away, I'd go and pick you up to replace one of my restroom sink faucets that need replaced.
Well, you could do that yourself. It's very easy.
We tried one of the we don't have the proper tool. One of the lines that goes to the faucet doesn't want to come off.
Is it rubber, plastic, or metal?
It's metal.
Then you have a very old house. Your house was built before the 1980s.
Yes, it was. But that line, actually, I put it. It's a metal flexible one. It's a newer type of line. Anyways, I'm having someone come tomorrow to finish the job. It's kind of halfway there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, this question was already asked. I'm trying not to miss any of the questions, so I apologize if I do. All right, let's go to the next one. Dr. Nelson, were you at all hesitant to interview Rick, or are you intrigued with him as many of us are? Well, this is not the first time I interview Rick. You can go through my channel and with Dr. Kills as well. It is not the first time. So no, I was not at all hesitant. As a matter of fact, when I look at the stats of that previous time that you were with me, it was one of the highest viewed. I haven't looked at it again, but yes, it was.
That's good.
A lot of engagement, a lot of views. Coach Elliott asks, did carnivore cause you to grow a tail?
Well, I don't know if I got tall from being carnivore. Nobody in my family's ever been this tall, but I can tell you one thing. It couldn't hurt. I do believe that if I wouldn't have started the carnivore diet, I may not have gotten as tall as I did.
And by the way, I read the question wrong. To grow so tall, and yes, he's tall. He's taller than Dr. Baker. Dr. Baker is 6'5", and we took a picture of Dr. Baker on one side, Rick on the other side, and me in the middle. I'm
Mm-hmm.
5'6". They were both towering up over me. I'm Nick. When I put them, did I see Eleni here? I'm gonna put the one with Eleni because love you, Eleni. Uh, but I found someone shorter than me to take pictures with. All right. So, 354. If you have any other questions, remember hashtag REC, not hashtag KMT. The tool is going to ignore you if you put KMT. It is hashtag RICK, RICK. Okay. And yes, Terry, I said tail. I misread the question. All right. Here we have another one. Rick, how do I rebuild a 4L60E automatic transmission?
I don't know. The only ones I've done is a 904, 727, and an E40D. I'm not sure which one the 4L60E is, but most transmissions basically just download the manual, take it out of the vehicle, put it up on a stand, and start taking it apart. But I'll make a video when I do the one in my van. I am going to rebuild that transmission, and I'll show you the step-by-step process of how I do it. Maybe it's similar.
Brazilian steakhouses, I guess you mean, are my favorite. So I like them because if you want to go and have a volume, and I think you didn't say how much total meat you actually eat in a day.
When I have enough, I've had to cut back lately because I can't afford like I used to, but I normally would eat 4 to 6 pounds of meat per day. At this point, it might be more like 3 pounds of meat per day, but generally 4 was my minimum because I'd have 1 with breakfast, 2 with lunch, and 2 with dinner.
How do you adjust the new water level in the toilet bag?
Depends on the model. If you have the traditional toilet with the float on a stick, that one's pretty easy. You just bend the stick a little bit to get the level you want. If you have one of the newer ones that has the float that goes up and down, there's a little screw on top that you can rotate to get the float up and down. And then if you have the one that's a diaphragm valve in the bottom, there's a little screw on that. That one's a little trickier. So you let some of the water out of it and then adjust it. You open it all the way up, let the water down, and then start tightening it until the water level comes up to the one that you want.
Where was your last road trip when you cooked the best meat on your car engine?
I went down, let's see, where did I go? The last road trip I cooked meat on was probably 2023 because my truck's been broken since then. I went up to Loxahatchee to visit a friend up in Palm Beach County. That's about 1.5 to 2 hour trip. And I cooked, if I remember correctly, I cooked chuck steaks. Yeah, it was from the chuck roll. So I cooked the chuck steaks. Well, I put them on the engine when I left my house. When I got up to about Okeechobee or Southern Boulevard, it was ready. So I took it off the engine and then I kept driving. By the time I got to his house, it was still hot.
Very good. By the way, you had my house was actually built in 1987.
Oh.
So the house is the same age as my son. I have a building in Deltona that used to have my medical office. That building is from 77, and it still has the original air conditioners, although they've been off for a couple of years now. So they were old and failing frequently. So they probably need to be replaced. There are 2 AC units, big AC units on the roof.
Yeah, my AC in the house was from 1959. I kept it running. It just took too much power. So when my mom died, I turned it off, never turned it on. I put in those mini splits after that.
All right. If you have any questions, any more questions, put them in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rick, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you want to be and why?
Oh, that's simple. I'll be a vulture. That way I can go anywhere and I always have something to eat. I don't have to be like a lion that has to fight for its food. You just fly around, wait until something is ready, go down, eat it. Everybody stays away from you. And it's a good life.
Nobody bothers you. Usually you're eating roadkill and
Yeah, which I do anyway.
um, all right. I know we're over, well, we're at the top of the hour, but we started late. So we're going to be here a little bit. Today's a special day.
There you go.
All right. So here we have some personal questions.
What about a girlfriend? I haven't had a girlfriend since high school. I don't know. I don't find the women in Miami to be attractive at all. So I just, I have women that are friends. In fact, I have vegan friends that are women, and I'm fine with that, but I don't have a girlfriend. I kind of got used to living by myself, I guess.
All right. Carnivore muscle, please repeat your question because I can't go searching. If you're asking me if I missed your question, I probably did. So I apologize for that. But go ahead and put it again. Uh, Barefoot Gardens 22. Rick, hello. Can you offer advice for someone with liver cirrhosis? 67-year-old man needs a transplant. What should he eat?
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I have no way of knowing, what a person would eat. But let's just say that if it was me and I had liver issues, from what I know, I would avoid carbohydrates. I would try to eat meat, eggs, maybe, I don't know, maybe some, if you have to eat vegetables, maybe eat some fermented vegetables, but I would avoid anything that had any kind of sugar or alcohol or anything that really needs the liver to process it. As far as I know, you can eat meat and drink water without having to overwork your liver. I mean, still, you have to deal with insulin, but it's not as much as if you're eating carbohydrates.
Certainly, and I would agree with you. Obviously, when you're at that stage of liver cirrhosis, and you're obviously they've told you you need a transplant, you are at the end stage of the damage of your liver. I generally put this in 4 different stages. You can divide it in more, but basically you have a healthy, brand new, working perfectly liver at some point, right? Then you start developing a fatty liver without inflammation. And why do I say that? Because you can have a fatty liver and your liver enzymes be normal. Okay. So don't think if you have fatty liver and the enzymes went down, don't think your fatty liver it's gone. It may be gone, but it's not equivalent. Liver enzymes go up when there is inflammation there now. So you have fatty liver without the inflammation, normal liver enzymes, then fatty liver with inflammation, and then the damage continues, and you develop some fibrosis in the liver, some cirrhosis, and there is a gradient there from early to late stage cirrhosis. Okay, the treatment, as far as the diet is concerned, with all of those, it's stay away from the carbohydrates, especially at this point. But yeah, you need more than just diet at this point, unfortunately. So Uh, all right. Carnival Muscle asks, Rick, how will you summarize the Quack Your Health event?
Well, let's put it this way. It's different than any of the other conventions or conferences I've ever been to. I've been to mostly like tech conferences or conferences for, maybe for old cars and stuff like that. This is the first one I ever went to that people actually came up to me. They knew who I was and they wanted to take their picture with me. So that was kind of a new thing. And then I have to admit that when I went to the Dr. Kilt's booth, it was like the welcome center of the whole conference, because as soon as I got there, Alia was there, Dr. Nelson was there, Dr. Kiltz was there. And from that moment on, it was, Rick, what you should see this, or Rick, you want to go with us to eat? And it wasn't like going to a conference. It was like going to a family reunion. That's pretty much the way I would summarize it.
I actually met you right at registration before everybody else had seen you there.
That's right.
And I think we had a good time. Who were you looking forward to meet more than anyone, really?
Who was I looking forward to meet? Well, I mean, I wanted to meet Dr. Baker, which I did on the second day. And let me think who else. I wanted to meet Dr. Kiltz because he looked like the most fun one of the bunch. And then I wanted to meet my friends, obviously. I wanted to meet, obviously you and Alia. And obviously my friend Russ was the first person I met, but I had already met him before when he took me to the Brazilian steakhouse down here. I was disappointed that he was not able to stay for the conference, because I think it would have been more fun with him around. And other than that, I did get to meet some of the famous people, even the non-carnivores. I met Eric Berg, Dr. Eric Berg, the chiropractor. I met, obviously, who else did I meet? I met several. Even that guy, Mike Mutzel, that often has videos. I mean, he's not really carnivore, but he's a popular one. I said hi and shook his hand.
Did you meet Dr. Boss?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Because Lewis took me over there. But
yeah,
at that time, she was...
Louis was dragging you all over the place to meet people.
She was busy at the time, so he took me somewhere else. But when he went another place, I went over there, and then there was only two people there. I said hello to her. I told her I enjoyed the presentation with their little cartoon characters, the angry insulin and the happy insulin and the little ketones and all. I thought that was kind of funny. But Lewis gave me one of those stickers that she had, which I actually still have. I have it in my collection of souvenirs.
She does that with the caricatures very frequently. As a matter of fact, I don't want you to leave, but if you're here, your Dr. Boss started 7 minutes ago. Her weekly live is on Tuesdays. And she's great. I'm a fan. She knows it. All right, let's see. Rick, you have mentioned that you will be doing more videos. What type of genre? Will you change your channel's name? Your channel's name, you can explain in a second. Charger Mopar, right? Dogman and Swamp Cat, perhaps.
Well, those are Amy's characters. But no, I'm not changing my channel name. It's been the same name since 2007. In terms of the videos, I'm still going to do the ride and talk videos where I ride my bike and talk. But I also want to do other videos. Like I've been working on the engine for my truck today. I was trying to make a video on that. I'm going to make a video on how to remove and how to prepare another engine to install in the truck. I may do a video on rebuilding the transmission. But I want to make videos on different subjects. So what I'll do, maybe I'll make a video about inflation in the monetary system, or I'll make a video on what I think about growing plants and which plants are edible. I'll find different subjects. My channel is not a carnivore channel. It's just a channel with a lot of different subjects. The fact that I eat the carnivore diet is only part of the channel. And I'll talk about that too. I'll talk about ways of cooking. Maybe I'll do a roadkill video once I get out in the country. Maybe I'll catch roadkill deer or something and show you how to process that. And if YouTube doesn't delete it, I'll do another duck processing video.
Latro Jenny Wild. I just passed 19 months carnivore. Congratulations. Okay. All right. Terry has been carnivore since September 2023. I started at the end of June 2023 as well. I'm in remission, so I feel like working. Lois, like Rick, nothing ever upsets them. It was great to spend some time with Lewis. I had already met him in Boston, our Boston meetup. And, you know, he's a very nice guy, but the greatest thing about him is he likes the Mets. I like the Mets.
I'm the only one who doesn't like sports.
Ever go to Miami to watch a baseball game?
Spectator sports are very boring to me. I would rather be outside chasing an iguana than sitting in a seat.
Lois says I was bringing people together all weekend.
Yep. He even got me into Carrie's get together as well. The presentation he had on the Healing Humanity movie.
Yes. Rick, will you want to take Kiltz's course taught by Dr. Nelson?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it's very educational.
All right. All right. Let's I'll give you a few more seconds to put hashtag Rick. And let me bring up so everybody can see it. We're gonna give a Dr. Nelson hat. You can choose gray or black. While supplies last. And if you don't want the hat, you can have a shirt. You know, I won't get offended. I'll be hurt, but I won't get offended. Okay, can you see the giveaway tool? No, I have to bring it up on the stage.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
So I'm gonna run it.
All right.
Kimberly, how are you doing, Kimberly? I met Kimberly in Columbus, Ohio. And he had a good time in Columbus. So let me see. Why do I have that there? It's because I didn't remove this. So Kimberly, email Alia at drkiltz.com. Dr. Kiltz spelled out. You have mailed us plenty of times, but Alia at doctorkiltz.com. And you can ask for a gray or a black one. And if you don't really want a Dr. Nelson hat, you can ask for a shirt. All right. So all good things come to an end, right?
Only for a while.
Yeah.
But if they want more, they can always come by on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Oh, I do have your channel up. Hold on. Let's see where it. Oh, when I restarted the computer, I lost it.
Oh,
so
that's fine.
No, but I have it here, so we'll see. Were you able to set up the live stream?
Live stream?
Were you able to set up the live stream on your channel?
I mean, I do it on Saturday. I didn't do it last Saturday though.
No,
because-
today. Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you mean co-streaming? Yes, I set it
Yeah.
up on my channel.
All right. So that's his channel. If you're here and you're not a subscriber, go there and subscribe. As you can see, I have been a subscriber for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think you
Alright.
first discovered me on Russ's channel. On the Keto Cookout?
Maybe, not sure if it was there, but I'm glad I did. Anyways,
Me too. I'm glad that everyone has gotten on my channel because Hack Your Health, the only reason why it was so good is because I got to meet so many interesting people. And again, out of all the conventions I've been to, this is the only one that felt like a family reunion.
Yeah. Now, when we have the basically carnivore only conventions, it's the same type of energy, by the way. So we will see. We might be able to be to set up something near Miami, or at Miami. Who knows? We'll see.
If it's anywhere on the East Coast, I'll be there.
Yeah, we're certainly going to be next month. Well, it's not 100% sure yet, but stay tuned. Alia is already talking to the people, and it's probably, I'll give you a date. If it happens, we already have a date. So it is December 13th, at least that weekend. Either 13th or the 14th. Most likely it's going to be December 13th. And that's going to be in Tampa. But we are going to be doing throughout 2026 some more meetups in Florida and all over the country. Someone was asking me the other day. I said, you started and let us know, because what's a meetup? You had a meetup with Ross, just you and him. You know, that's a meetup. Start with 2 people, right?
Right.
So, all right, everybody. We've been having fun, but we have to go. 5:30 in the community Zoom call. Those who have access to that, I will see you then. Okay? Have a great day, everybody, and eat meat.
Absolutely.